Homeowners are concerned about chemicals they put on their lawn, concerned about chemicals that may be on their food. And I can understand that there's this concern.
I definitely pull weeds out myself. I don't use pesticides at all.
Pull it there, put it in a bag and put it by the road.
We get the organic spray for the weeds, and that's really it.
Just get rid of the chemicals. They can't do us any good.
I'm not allowed to. You know, there's a Toronto bylaw that's it's illegal to use pesticides.
I want him to have a good immune system, so the more he's exposed to, that's obviously not dangerous or hazardous. Like, it's fine. So no, I don't really worry about it.
So are pesticides safe to use or not?
Well, it's a very interesting question. The word pesticide implies to kill. That's what "icide" means. And of course, these chemicals are designed to kill pests, to kill fungi, etc. So there is certainly a potential for harm. It is not possible to make a blanket statement that all pesticides are safe under all conditions. Of course, that's not true. Asking whether or not it is safe to use pesticides is like asking whether medications are safe. It depends on which medication, for what condition, in what dose, and for whom. Here's a question for you. Which one of the following would you think is the most risky? Let's say caffeine, salt, vitamin A, vitamin B, pesticides.
Pesticides.
That's what everyone says, and I can understand that emotional reaction. The fact is that there isn't a correct answer to that quiz because it depends on how much and in what context. For example, it is certainly possible for salt to be more dangerous than a certain pesticide, depending on how much we are using. So there are only safe ways to use pesticides. You can't say that everything is safe under all conditions.
Right. So it's the same as taking 1 aspirin or 2 aspirins to make a headache go away versus a whole bottle of aspirin.
Right, which makes you go away,
yes.
Right? And we know what aspirin is, we know how it works in the body, we know what the proper dosage is to recommend. Similarly with pesticides, we know what the condition is that we're addressing, we know which chemical to use and in what dose. And if the instructions are followed, you can use that just as safely as you can use aspirin.
Should I be concerned wearing sandals on my lawn with bare feet or having my kids playing, running around in bare feet on the lawn?
Well, I don't think you want to spray your lawn with weed killer and then bring out your kids and roll them around to see what the effect is.
Right.
But this actually has been studied, as you might think. The chemical of concern is 2,4-D, which is a weed killer. And studies have shown that after a lawn is sprayed, people are made to walk around barefoot or in clogs such as this. And then they sample their blood to see whether or not any of it was absorbed, and what we find that it is absolutely negligible. So I don't think that there's any significant concern here when it is done as the instructions say.
Right. What about the slow and subtle effects of the use of pesticides over like a long period of time?
Excellent question, because of course that's what we're worried about. Just because someone falls ill after chemicals have been used on a lawn, let's say, you cannot conclude that it is because of the chemicals. We have to base our emotions on the proper scientific evidence, not on fear that is brought about by emotional concerns.
Okay.
Certain diseases, Parkinson's being an example, have been linked to pesticide use. However, whether the pesticide is synthetic or organic doesn't matter. For example, the derris plant, the root, gives us a chemical called rotenone. It's an organic pesticide. It has been linked to Parkinson's disease. Some synthetic pesticides have also been linked to Parkinson's disease. It's not the origin of the material that matters, it's what its molecular structure is and how it behaves in the body.
One more question for you.
Yeah.
What about the use of herbicides and insecticides and the possible effect on the immune system?
The answer is yes, there is a possible effect. Studies done in laboratories in cells and culture have shown that it is possible to impair the immune system. Not surprising, because after all, these chemicals are designed to interfere with life. And we also do have some evidence from human studies where these chemicals are used in an improper fashion. You do see some behavioral problems and some neurological problems. We've seen this. We've seen it in Mexico. Children who live in areas where a lot of agrochemicals are used without controls, they have behavioral problems, neurological problems. But you cannot extrapolate that to what happens in Canada when a professional lawn spray company uses their chemicals. These people know what they are doing. The risks then are minimal. On the other hand, when homeowners go and buy some of these chemicals in garden supply stores and go home and they think that they are experts, that's a completely different story. There we do need controls. Well, Natalie, basically what all of this comes down to is a question of risk analysis. And the only way we can eliminate the risk of pesticides is not to use them at all, which at home is possible. So you have a few dandelions, you have a few weeds, you can still enjoy life. Well, the fact is that pretty soon more than 7 billion people will be coming to dinner. And it is not going to be possible to feed them without the judicious use of agrochemicals. The question is whether or not the benefits outweigh the risks. Well, when we look at global food production, I think there's absolutely no doubt. The benefits greatly outweigh the risks.